welcome to the Nonic Nonsense Podcast, a show where the program is more chaotic than a Nonic production of Grease. I am Kat Gold.
I am Michael Matadomini. Today, we have just a spectacular guest. I'm just going to get straight to the introduction. The one who plays all the different kinds of Disney princesses, the girl who puts the dumb in Dombrowski, Halnnah Hayley.
Hi. I will never, ever get tired of you calling me dumb. The contract from the start of everything to the end of everything was about like a 6-month period. And for about 4 months of that, you were calling me dumb every day. And I was like, la-di-da-di-da. Having to go on stage being like, I like you. And then you're backstage calling me dumb. I'll never get tired of it.
Okay, I'm going to clarify real quick. It's for all joke purposes, okay?
Aside.
Yeah, so I guess my first question is, how have you not killed this man yet?
The Lord blessed me with a handful of patience. you know that old saying, bless his heart. Bless his heart.
Bless his heart.
Mm-hmm. To the fullest extent.
Okay. All right.
I'm excited. This is an episode where we're just going to gang up on Michael. This is great.
Honestly, the community's probably been waiting for this moment. So, like, I'm totally okay.
They've been waiting for someone to, kind of put you back down.
Are we getting messy already? Jeez.
We are getting messy.
Michael and I always have a good time together. Oh, it's a fun time.
We do. We went out for drinks the other night, caught up, and that speaks volumes. Like, even though we give each other a hard time, like the fact that the show has almost been a year now, and we still make an effort to go out and like hang out and catch up. That right there shows that there was a nice connection between the two of us. And which I think showed on stage, and it showed in the reviews too. Like, people were talking about how well we gelled and how well we clicked. So it all worked out in the end.
Yeah, no, so I got to watch the recording of it, and you guys had like great chemistry on stage.
Hell yeah. Bringing it back. It's the last time I'll be playing Danny Zuko, so I was like, yeah, fuck it, why not? Like,
I want to pray and say it's not the only time I will ever play Sandy. Because Lord, that was so fun. And I just need to find another production of Grease. Someone, somewhere, do Grease. Let me be Sandy, please.
Everyone's always doing Grease. There's always some like regional theater somewhere in the country that you can go like bop over and whop bam.
Shoot a bop bop.
Okay.
Oh, Michael, that just reminds me of Desire.
Oh, shout out to Desire. We're not going to bring up the situation where that phrase was used. But he was talking about like just a certain thing going on, and he was like, I don't know why they're shoot a bop bopping with us. It was a very funny time. Good vibes all around though. That was an interesting production. Suzanne Dunn is still looking to rent out that car. So whoever is doing productions of Grease, hit up Suzanne. She has a wonderful Grease Lightning being ready to be used. That car was the best.
I love Suzanne. She's so sweet.
I love Suzanne.
I have such fond memories of Suzanne. Love her. She is an angel. But B, that car. That car, Michael.
Let's talk about it. Go ahead.
I have never had to be like assaulted on stage before. So that was such a moment for me. And Michael, us being like actual friends, it's so interesting. We'd be hee ha haing in the wings or backstage, and then it's like, all right, ready to go assault me and be a douche? Let's do it.
Let's do it. Yeah, no, honestly, like let's bring it back to the beginning when we had to first block out that scene, because I remember it like it was yesterday. It was my birthday. It was my birthday when we first blocked out that scene, and Suzanne called us in, and on the daily call, it was just me and Halnnah, and I was like, I know what's about to go down. So I entered the the CT in the Delray Beach Playhouse, and it's like the room is like dim, and there's just two chairs in the middle of the room, and I was like, oh my god, I can't. And then Suzanne comes out with balloons and Reese's cups because that was my favorite candy, and she surprised me with a bunch of balloons, and then she was like, all right, let's try to assault Hannah now. Like, and I was like, god damn it. Like, here
God.
we go. So
I
that
We'll
that
just.
was my third birthday.
Oh my God. I remember walking in, and like you said, the room was very dim. Usually the lights are on, but no, like maybe two lights on. And then, it was like 6:30. So, the sun's setting and there's that gorgeous lake view in that theater. And there's just two chairs and Michael and Suzanne. And I'm like, oh, what are we doing here today, guys?
Yeah,
We're gonna go play some ball.
and I was looking at Hannah too, and like we ran the scene like 4 or 5 times, like getting it up, blocking it, trying to do it without the script. And then Suzanne was like, all right, let's do it full out. And Hannah and I just both went, ah. It's like, all right, it's gonna happen. Ended up
There was no
happening.
coordinator for it.
No, because it was community theater. Like Suzanne did her best to make us both feel comfortable, and I think we both did. We tried different ways of doing it because in the car itself, originally we were just sitting down in the car. But once we got the car and realized that like the windshield was covering everything, that we needed to bring it back and sit on like the back end of the car instead of being like in the actual seats, we were sitting on it. And then that led to just like blocking changes. But again, like, I did my best to make Hannah feel comfortable, and Hannah did her best to make me feel comfortable. And then Suzanne was always triple checking and making sure that the whole situation was covered, which is why I don't think we needed one, because we all three of us trusted each other enough to go ahead and do it. But we did have a funny moment later on in the run where we weren't allowed in the theater, but Suzanne wanted to just brush over certain scenes. So in the morning, we went in while there was like a summer camp going on. And Suzanne was like, okay, we can't do it in the CT, so we're going to rehearse out in the lobby of the theater. And I was like, okay, right. And we get to this scene, and Hannah and I get to the point where it's about to happen again. And then the kids start like running out. Like these kids start storming out of the CT. And then Suzanne was like, everyone back up, back up, back up. We're not doing anything, right? And then Hannah and I were like, oh yeah, like friends, high five. And then Suzanne was like, okay, coast is clear, let's do it again. God damn it. So that scene in general just ended up being like, I don't know, a good giggle between Hannah and I. There was always like, you ready to do it? Yep, high five, let's roll.
Yep, we would high five every single time before the curtain would go up, because there would be that like minute and a half of like the movie going on before it would like black out or whatever. And we would check in. We'd make sure that we were okay. I check my bangs in the mirror because those bangs, oh my God.
They look so cute.
Thank you. Well, this is what's left of them now. But for community theater production, I had bangs, like across the forehead bangs. And that was such a commitment because I had never had bangs in my life.
Wait, and they were also cut your hair for it?
Yes, that was my hair.
Okay, I have to like pause this for a second. How the hell did Michael and Danny get these beautiful lace front wigs and you had to cut your hair for Sandy?
Dyed my hair. It was a whole moment. So this is like what's left of the dye job and the cut job and whatnot. So it's grown out nice and it's whatever. But when I got cast and when we were doing the first couple, run-throughs, read-throughs, whatever, and I was talking to Suzanne, we were going about, the costumes and the wigs and everything. And she's like, oh yeah, I love your hair. It's just so sandy. And I was like, oh, so I'm not getting a wig. And so then she asks me, she's like, would you mind like, cutting your hair a little bit? And I was like, okay, like, what's the style? She's like Sandy. And I was like, oh, like Sandy.
Like bang, Sandy.
And, and so me wanting to pay the utmost respect to the Queen, Olivia Newton-John, I watched the movie again. And I was like, oh fuck, I need to get like across the eyebrow bangs. And I, like I said, I never had bangs in my whole life. And so I was like, okay, this could go one of two ways. Either I can look real cute, or this is gonna look really, really ugly for like the next 6 months. And luckily, she looked really cute, but it was such a lifestyle change to have bangs, because when you wake up in the morning and you have short little bangs, they're like this. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know that little doll from the Rugrats?
Cynthia.
I looked like Cynthia. My blonde hair all the way up every single morning. It was terrible. And
I
not
looked like Cynthia.
I did. I did. And then I had, oh my God, I think I still have it. I had to have a roller in my hair at all times. If I wasn't on stage, I had my bangs rolled, or I would constantly have a can of hairspray just ready to go, ready to rip, killing the ozone layer.
Yep. You used the fuck out that hairspray, because there was one time where we were dancing together and you came in and it was like it flashed before my eyes. Like I was dancing and then I saw bangs and then it went black. Like I was like confused as to what happened. But her bangs were rock solid. Like you could fucking spray those bangs down with a hose and they would still be like formed and perfect and rolled. So props to you for putting a roller back in them shits. But I almost lost a right eye for sure.
But respectfully, I needed to make sure that Sandy's bangs would last from the beginning of Act 1 all the way to the end, when I would have to take a hairbrush and rip the out of my bangs, so that way I could have like some, some sexy hair. Because the wig they tried to give me for Bad Sandy, that was criminal.
It was not a tease and floof wig?
No, it was not. You best bet it was not a tease and floof wig, because if it was, I would not have been done dirty. Tina, I love you so much. Please help me find a good Bad Sandy wig to wear, because this was before, I guess it was before it was like, I don't know, fully styled or whatnot. I think it was just a bad wig. It looked like a poodle. I walked up to Suzanne with tears in my eyes and I said, do you like it? And so they just made the executive decision. Okay, you know what we're going to do? We're going to tease your hair really fast. We're going to add a lot of hairspray. You're going to flip your head upside down. You're going to shake the hell out of your hair and just go with it. And so it worked. I hated that quick change so much. It gave me anxiety every single day. But the bangs will live on. I think, honestly, it has changed me as a person. I don't think I'll go back to not having bangs.
The bangs and the eyelash glue that was stuck in my sideburns for putting on that fuck ass wig. Keep in mind, that wig, I was like, confidence. Because your thin-haired brother over here was like, how am I Danny Zuko? So the first wig came in and my head was too fat. I have a big ass fucking head, and we put that wig on, and a big floofy wig turned into like what looked like a ShamWow that was barely clinging onto my head. And they got sent back, and then this second one came in and it was like gorgeous. It was floofy, it was great, but it like lifted off on the sides, and I have nothing to clearly keep that bitch down when it was up. So Hannah would come up to me pre-show and she'd be like, do you want to do eyelash glue? And I was like, yeah, sure. So she would apply the eyelash glue, but then taking that bitch off, like it was easy to come off from here, but then it would get stuck here. So I'd have like the fucking full hair, like head of hair in front of my face, but it was clinging on to these like little pieces here. And I was like taking it out with such care, because I was like, God damn it, if I lose any more fucking hair, I'm going to lose my mind. Right. So I was like slowly and meticulously taking this shit off. And like, I'd be backstage for like an extra 10 minutes, just like fucking trying to get that shit off. But it looked great. It held down, but taking that shit off, I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna fucking sob into a lean cuisine. It was awful.
Wait, you used eyelash glue instead of spirit gum?
So the
Uh,
spirit gum tried it first and it fell out
yeah,
constantly because I used to sweat like a motherfucker up there.
yeah. He
So
was a sweaty mess. And so we tried like everything, like, and like he said, he didn't have any hair for us to like pin it into. Like, no amount of U pins, bobby pins, anything would have worked. Like, even like taping it a little bit. Like, it was rough. And
Oh, toupee tape wouldn't work?
no, nothing.
Because I've lost some serious hair because of the toupee tape. Jeez.
yeah, so we used just like regular like Kiss eyelash glue. And we would be there and I would just be holding his head saying, "Stay still." Just holding it for a solid like 2 minutes while everyone's warming up and I'm like belting in his face.
Screaming into my face, yes. Oh, fucking, I'm like, oh, hold on.
It's
He's like,
okay.
stop moving.
Getting,
It
I
was
was
a
getting
fucking
a
nightmare.
Phantom of the Opera moment back in my face. I was like, oh Jesus, I'm back at the opera. Fuck. But had you told me that you were struggle bussing it with taking it off, I would have come to you and like given you some sort of assistance with like product or Marcy even would have like given you something because I was standing back and I was like, why the fuck is he taking so long? I am a woman and I have to get out of full makeup, full costume, fix my hair, and this man is taking forever. And it's because you were trying not to rip your hair out. This really
Yep.
enlightened.
And I was pouring like makeup remover on it and shit, but like it still was like not budging. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take my time. And she'd be like, Michael, ready to go? And I'd be like, no, no, I'm not. I'm not ready to go out there yet. I'm sorry. Also, speaking of going out there, the patrons of the Delray Beach Playhouse, some of them lovely. Others, the meanest people I've ever met in my life. Like,
I know the story.
yeah, they have vendettas, right? So one time I walked out without my wig on and I was walking around and this lady pulled me aside. She goes, "Hey, we're waiting." She literally looks at me in the face. I'm sweating and I still got my costume on, but just no wig. She goes, "Hey, when is Danny Zuko coming out?" And I went, "Here he is." And she goes, "Oh, I thought you had more hair." And I looked at her and I was just like, "Yes."
That was a
Which
wig, ma'am.
I was like, "That's a wig, ma'am." But you know, so I went out. I learned my lesson. I went out with the wig the other time. This lady came up to me. No, actually, no, she didn't come up to me. This she was talking shit about me, right? She was like, "Oh, Danny Zuko looked much skinnier from on the stage. Like he does. He's not as skinny when you meet him, out in the lobby." And I turned around. I said, "Thank you very much, ma'am. I appreciate you coming to the show." And she literally like she saw a ghost, and I was like, "Girl, you are 3 years away from being one." But like let's not go at me like that. But everyone else was like really lovely. People were great. The people dressed up just like every other Grease production.
Hmm.
Um, like those pink lady troops that come in and they watch all the shows and all that kind of jazz.
They're
But
so cute.
they're the best. They are the best. So, that was always fun. And the Delray Beach Playhouse is like, we were running through the audience for our performance. Like people would come in from the audience, people would go out in the audience for some of the dance breaks. Like it's a nice theater. So like, but it's intimate. So you could see
Mm.
from the stage the back wall, right? So I'm
Oh,
sitting there
wow.
and like I just look out one night and there's like I was like, why is there a sea of pink? Like I was like, I literally can't. And I walk out there and there's just like 20, 30 women in pink lady jackets and they're like, let's picture up. And I have this one video that I'm gonna insert here of Jeffrey Merkel because Jeffrey Merkel came to that show. Everyone was like, me next, me next, me next. And Jeffrey was just waiting there to say hello and get the fuck out of there. I kept on getting swarmed and he was taking a video of me taking pictures with these women and I just kept on looking over at him like this. I was like,
Save me.
help. Like the funniest shit. So we gotta put that video in.
Patrons are wild.
Mm.
Do you have any crazy patron stories, Hannah?
I mean, for the most part, the ones at the Playhouse were really, really sweet. They all, were like, "Oh my gosh, you look like Olivia Newton-John." And I was like, A, wrong. thank you. Like, because I know a lot of the patrons are a little more up there in age. So I'm like, all right, you don't got the best fish, and neither do I. So it's fine. But I appreciate the compliment nonetheless. God, yeah, I don't know. I try not to pay too much attention to the patrons because like it's always so uncomfortable when you go out into the lobby, and it's like even if you're just there to like meet a friend, meet a family member who came and saw the show, it's like please, nobody feel the need to like talk to me or like compliment me or like say anything to me like at all because like I don't. It feels like I'm just fishing, and I don't ever want to fish. So I don't know. I always love, when someone just randomly feels like compelled to come up and say, oh, that was such a beautiful show. That was such a great show. It's always such a great feeling. I don't know. I always get a little boost of anxiety right before I have to go out into the lobby. Almost a little bit more anxiety than when I have to go out on stage.
Yeah, no, that literally happened to me yesterday. I think so I'm doing Charlie and the Chocolate Factory out in Arizona right now. But I went out to the lobby because my friend Max came to see the show. We were gonna go get lunch, whatever. So we walk out there, and just like a swarm of like elderly women, their walkers start walking towards me, and I'm like, please, no, please, I really don't want to have a conversation. Like, oh, were you Mrs. Gloop? Ma'am, I'm the only fat woman on stage in this production. Yes, that was me. Like, I really don't want to have this conversation. I don't.
That's when you throw it back at them and you confuse them. You're like, that was my stunt double the whole show.
No, I was Willy Wonka. Surprise.
I was Charlie.
I was Charlie Bucket. Fun fact, I was the Chocolate Lagoon.
I was the glass elevator.
I was actually the golden ticket. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much. Yeah. No, it's fun going out there. When I don't have friends that come to see the show, I never really go out there. Like, especially during chorus line when I had to go to Sister Act. Like, if I knew someone was out there, I'd run out there really quick, be like, "Hey, love you, thank you for coming," and then like dip because I had to get back to the Broward Center. But most of the time during chorus line, half of the people didn't even know I was in the fucking show, which fair, because I was only up there for 11 minutes and 37 seconds.
Which was the star, though.
For one night when the Sister Act cast came, I felt like the star. Fucking, I'll get to that. But
you came out when I
just dip out. Huh?
You came out when I went and saw the show.
Yes, because I was like, Hannah's there. I gotta go say hi. But like, I dip the fuck out usually.
It was such a weird experience going and seeing the show because I hadn't ever seen a show at LPAC at that point. And I was like, okay, like I've heard great things. And I was very, very impressed. I was like, oh my goodness, beautiful talent. But when I was in the lobby, I got stopped like 3 times asking if I was in the show. And I was like,
that did happen. I can confirm.
It happened quite a few times. It happened when I was in the bathroom. It happened when I was like in the concession line. And then it happened again at the end. And I was like, what the fuck was this? I don't know. Which is like, it's a compliment because I'm not like a dancer. I'm like a mover, So
we are
like,
strong movers, Hannah and I. When we were doing that prom, it was like 2 left feet girlies. We were like, hey.
No, your dance break looked great.
Oh, I know, but like getting there.
We rehearsed it a lot.
I don't know what it was. I mean, the God bless the choreographer, but she was given the wrong track, so she like choreographed an extra like 3 minutes onto the prom when it just wasn't there. So when we got
you guys did the version that was closer to the movie. You did like
that was the final product. The process to get there was so long and messy. So it took a lot of reshaping, a lot of configuration. Long
and I don't know if it was legal, but we changed a lot of the script. Like, we really did. Like, Sandy actually came to the prom. Like, she wasn't at home. That's why I was like,
wow.
I was shaking it down at the prom, all right?
But we were sitting there and Suzanne was like, yeah, we're going to make it close to the movie. And I was like, love that. Is that illegal? I was like, is it illegal?
But
Can I
that's
say that what was really iconic about that production was the two girls doing Raining on Prom Night. Also, one of them was wearing my Raining on Prom Night dress, which like
She
really gagged
was.
me.
Shout out to Allie. She's wonderful.
oh
You
my
know,
god,
she's a great actress.
and she's
Wonderful
beautiful.
voice. Yes. But one night, I do have to tell this story. One of the girls didn't make it on. Like something happened backstage. And Allie was the only one that made it out. So she sang Raining on Prom Night as a solo, and she like acted the fuck out of it. Right? It was just like, it's raining. Yes, it is. Like, instead, like
But
doing
she
both.
was doing both parts.
Yes, but as a fucking monologue, and it worked.
It
Like
was so
everyone
good.
was losing their fucking minds, and I was just slow dancing with Hannah, like, oh my fucking god, this is working.
Right.
Like,
And here's the thing. He doesn't have any view of this because he has his back to her. And so I'm watching this all unfold and I'm like, oh my God, I'm witnessing a miracle. Oh my God, this is live theater. Holy shit. And it was so good. And like she deserved every moment of that applause because she killed it. And I just remember like because I like right before the number started, I remember feeling something weird on stage and I was like, something's not happening that should happen. And so all of us, we were just like, oh fuck, 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 fuck. And then she just goes into it. And I was like, oh my God, this is great. She's a professional. She's so great.
that show is fucking cursed though, because like right after that happened, Vince Fontaine was supposed to come out through the fucking doors in the gym. And everyone was like, Vince Fontaine. And then you hear the doors like, come on, fucking open. Right. And then then he just runs around the set piece and enters in. And everyone was like, Jesus Christ.
Grease in general is cursed, as
Yes.
we have lived through a different cursed experience of Grease.
You barely survived a cursed version of Grease. Yes.
Did you almost die?
Yes, I almost just.
Please explain this.
Oh my God.
Hannah
Everyone who
hasn't listened
listens to the
pod, so you
podcast
just have
regularly is having a nightmare because we're having to repeat this story.
Yes. Just make it short and sweet, Kat. Short and sweet.
But okay,
Girl.
so
Well, yes.
Raining on Prom Night. I'm Jan. I'm on the top of this platform. I've got my mic. I'm singing, and then I'm supposed to walk down with my big poofy dress, my heels, holding the microphone stand, walk it down this curved staircase 4 steps down. My heel, this is on a 2-show day. This is the matinee. My heel catches the top step, and I just go whoop, slam into the staircase, hit the stage floor. My Genesee is out for the audience. I have gone splat. Sandy is already down singing her part. I am splat on the floor. Everyone takes a minute to get me off the floor because everyone's just like.
And this is at Lauderhill, Hannah.
This is at LPAC. This is at LPAC. Big ass theater. Splat. It's a blue out. I'm in a spot. Splat. And then I just have to like get up and like make it a bit. Like it's raining up from. I'm just like intensifying the lyrics. Like, oh, everything's going wrong instead of me singing like my pretty little song. And I'm just like, and I literally like finish it and I'm like, am I bleeding? My tights are ripped open. Help. I still gotta do hand jive. Help.
I still have to hand jive.
I literally
hand jive is crazy.
I know, it's really, that was my whole thing. I was like, well, I still have to dance. And Jan does not get cut until like 3 people into hand jive. I'm like, no, this is.
You're like, Harper, pull down your pants now. Harper, pull down your pants. Let's get out of here. Go.
I like dropped my, hey Roger, can you give me some punch? Michael had to take care of that because I'm like talking to Ashley Rube in the corner, like, am I bleeding? what is happening? My body, I had left my own body in that moment anyway. It was a time, and so now people always bring up me eating shit and grease. Michael
Michael
Ursula
Ursula.
uses as a phrase now.
I
You're not
love
gonna
her.
catgold yourself down the stairs.
Well, it's if it makes you feel any better, people still bring up me raw dogging the stage, toes out for the audience.
Tell this. Tell this.
Okay. So my quick change was like 30 seconds. Like, and mind you, the entirety of Act Two, I'm underdressed. Like I have all of Bad Sandy on underneath the entirety of it. So I am rolling down my pants. I'm putting on my heels. I'm putting on the lipstick, trying to futz with my hair, putting on the belt. And I have a team of people who are helping me. And so these two girls are helping put on my shoes. And I always shake my feet out a little bit to make sure that they're on fully. And I'm like, okay, everything feels good. And so I get my cigarette from Marty, and I give it a little puff, and I futz with my hair. I'm like, okay, ready. And I walk out, and I'm like, oh no, what's that? Oh, my foot's out. Cool. And I have to start the song, and I'm like, okay, I feel that my shoe is breaking. And I was like, okay, I can't give too much attention to it. I'm still holding the cigarette, mind you. And I'm trying so hard not to like lose face. And so we start the number. And whenever I move my foot, and I have to like, do this whole like movement where I'm pushing him back. And it's the very beginning. And I just feel the flap that's covering my toes going like this. My feet are popping out every step I take. And then we keep going through the number, and the bottom of the shoe starts to disintegrate. And so the bottom of the shoe, this is my foot. This is the shoe every time I walk. And I was so scared. And I was like, this is the worst thing that is ever happening to me. And it's happening to me right now. And there's people watching. And I was so scared. And mind you, my boss was out in the audience. My princess boss with like 15 of her friends, like they sold out a whole row to come and see me. And my dogs are out.
Keep in mind though, this is what made it even worse. Our blocking had us go back up the top of the stairs, around the top of the set, and then down back the other side of the stairs. And I see like this look of fear in her eyes, and I'm like, Jesus, like, are you that scared to like fucking dance with me right now? Like, what the fuck, right? So, and then I look down, and I'm like, oh, her shoe is like clinging onto like the strap, like the shoe's off, and her foot is just the only thing attaching the shoe to her leg is just the little strap. So she like rips off the, she rips the shit off, and we get done with the number, and I throw her on the top of the car. And she just rips off the shoes. And I'm like, damn, like you really gonna raw dog the stage right now like this, right? So I pick her up for bows, and then this stuck. Like originally we were just gonna walk up together, but because your shoes were fucking broken, you didn't want to raw dog the stage. You were like, can you carry me over to the front? I was like, you still go put your fucking feet on the dirty ass floor, but whatever, right? So I carry her and I put her down, and there's this photo that was snapped that night of us bowing and her fucking dogs just out on the floor. And they used that shit in the promotional footage.
All the fucking promo shots were my dog's out. But do you know that one scene in the Barbie movie where she takes her feet out of the heels and she's still got the pretty Barbie feet? I had to do that, but with one foot. Because mind you, I have a 4-inch heel on one foot, nothing on the other. And the shoe is like Michael said, my ankle, the shoe. And so I'm trying so hard to have this pretty Barbie feet moment. And we're trying to go up the stairs. And I'm like, the shoe keeps getting caught at every freaking step. And it was terrifying going down those stairs. And I was looking at Michael. He was looking at me. And I was like, Michael, don't you let me fall. You better not. You better not.
I was like, bro, you better hold it together. Shit. Like, I don't know about this. Like,
I did not miss a beat.
We did not. It was a fun production. Glad I did it. Glad I played Zuko. Glad that you were Sandy, the Dumb and Dombrowski. But leading up to that point, you went to Lynn University, correct?
I did. I graduate in less than a month.
Congratulations.
Woohoo.
Thank you.
Tell us about that journey there.
Well, let's go back to a little bit before my start of Lynn. It was 2020, and I was really excited for my senior year of high school, for audition season, and for just, the whole shebang of it all. I really knew at that point that I wanted to get a BFA. I wasn't sure if it was an acting or if it was a musical theater, but I knew that I wanted to pursue a theater degree. So I was doing a bunch of auditions, and I was, really just throwing myself into the whole environment of it all. And then COVID happened, and I was like, oh shit, what am I going to do? And a bunch of schools were saying, they're not doing any auditions. They're, switching to virtual submissions. And I was like, oh, well, I don't really know what to do here. And this was, before self-taping was like really like the standard or like even an option. And so I was like, I don't know how to, prop a camera up and record myself and edit it and send it off. And I was like, I'm 17, 18 years old, and I'm supposed to be making one of the biggest decisions that a young adult has to make. And a lot of colleges were just saying that they were going to be closed. And I was like, now I don't even know where I'm going to go. And so one of my best friends, Alana, she told me about a school that she had seen when she was doing the Florida State Thespians Festival. And mind you, I was going to go to that festival. It was going to happen, I believe, in March of 2020. So it obviously didn't happen. So I was going to go, and I was going to audition for a bunch of schools, and one of the schools was Lynn. And she told me about the program. She said that they were a newer program, but they seemed to have a lot of promise, and it looked like I would be able to cross train. And at that point, I was like, okay, I really want to get a strong foundation in my acting training, and I want to take dance classes and vocal lessons. And if I can audit, a musical theater rep class or a scene study class, I will. Just because I wanted my foundation, my bread and butter, to be in acting. And then I love singing. I've always loved to sing. And at that point, I'd been bullied a lot in high school and middle school. And I was like, oh, I don't think I have the gumption to go for a musical theater degree. So I want to go for an acting degree, but I want to cross train. So that really kind of, propelled me to shoot for Lynn. And COVID happened, and everything was shutting down. And I was actually in rehearsals for a production of Addams Family. And I got the email that, everything was kind of going to be shutting down. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to email Lynn. I'm going to send in my materials, and I'm going to hope for the best. And I did that with a couple universities. And I got an email back saying that I had been accepted into the acting department. And, the acceptances were rolling in, but also the impending doom of COVID could change all of this. And everyone was still asking me, it's April at this point. They're like, Hannah, what are you going to do in August? And I'm like, I don't know. There's a global pandemic. People are dying. I think I have more important things to worry about. So it was hard to make that decision, but I knew I needed to get out of my hometown. I needed to leave and to really just have my own life. And so I decided to take a chance on Lynn, and what their season included Cinderella, Rodgers and Hammerstein's edition. And I knew that is one of the shows that like I need to do. Cinderella is my favorite princess. I actually, she is my favorite princess. I love her so much. But I wanted to do that show, and I was like, okay, you know what? Things seem to be aligning. They're doing one of my favorite shows. Why not just go? And so I went, and then they told us that they weren't doing any of the shows that they had predicted on doing. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, I don't want to say the reason I chose to go is because they were doing Cinderella, but it was definitely a selling point for me, because I knew, I was like, I'm a freshman, I'm not gonna get cast as Cinderella, it's fine, but I just want to do the show. I want to be around the magic of it all. And so they said that they weren't gonna do it, and I was like, okay, well, I'm already here, so
you transfer out. You're like, fuck this, we're not doing Cinderella.
Peace
Hear me
out.
out real quick though. Let's have the Disney princesses from Disenchanted, like those princess characters, like Ashley Rubin's Cinderella,
Cinderella
be
or
put in
Jordan's
Roger's
Cinderella.
Yes, please.
Cinderella. Let's get that
Nightmare.
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 It's Cinderella, the remix. I'm not your Cinderella, I'm your bad Cinderella.
Oh God. I'll throw up.
Oh God. But
in my own little corner and my own little chair is done in like a speakeasy bar. It's just like she's in the corner of a bar having a White Claw.
Of that. Can I get a jazzy arrangement of in my own little corner, in my own little chair?
Fuck no.
Spoken word.
I don't care.
I hate that goddamn song.
Oh my God. That was the first musical theater song I ever sang in my entire life.
Yeah. Kat, what was yours?
My first musical theater song, like as a solo or like first like thing, because I remember being a kid and like doing a group number of like It's a Hard Knock Life.
Solo. You're solo.
I think it was Much More from the Fantastics. Because I used to be a soprano back in the day.
Soprano.
You will never guess mine because I was picked. Like when I went to Dreyfus, as we talked about, I sang Happy Birthday for my audition. I clearly was not ready to sing. And I had awful stage fright singing in front of people when I was very young. Still to this day, you can throw me out in front of a crowd of 8,000 people. I won't give a shit. But if my mom is like, hey, Michael, can you please sing something for me? I'm like, no, I'm terrified. So you understand. But it was Bruce Linzer's musical theater class. And I was a 9th grade little... Shout out Bruce Linzer. I saw you at Fat Cats the other day when this guy on fentanyl was talking about tarot cards and throwing them at people and dragons in the sky before the prom. It was a great time.
Of course that would happen at Fat Cats.
At Fat Cats. Yeah. But he was like, all right, Michael, like, what are you singing? And I was like, I honestly, like, I don't know. Like, I don't know any musicals. I don't know, like, anything. Can I sing, like, a pop song? And he was like, no, it has to be musical theater. And I was like, okay, can you, like, choose it for me then? And he was like, what's your vocal type? And I was like, dude, I don't know a vocal type. I was like, I don't know. And he was like, what about Go the Distance from Hercules? And I was like, done deal.
Bruce said, get nodes now.
Yep. So little 5'2" freshman Michael with a soprano range sang Go the Distance. And then after I got done, I was shaking for half an hour. I went into the bathroom and I cried. So it was a grand old time. It was a good day. But that was my first solo that I ever sang in front of like anyone. It's brand new.
What a traumatic experience.
Sing Go the Distance. Go. I
can go in the distance. Can I go home?
I needed the only distance I cared about was the distance from me to the nearest stall so I could throw up. Like it was awful.
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness.
But Hannah, you recently did one of my favorite plays of all time. You did Moon Over Buffalo.
I have done Moon Over Buffalo twice. I love that show with all of my being. I love a good play. Just a straight, like 2 hour, 2.5, maybe 2:45. Don't give me a 3-hour play. I will fall asleep. But 2:45. I love it.
As she's doing Death of a Salesman right now, she said, "Don't give me a 3-hour show."
It's 2 hours and 45 minutes. Okay, with the Requiem. But I love a good farce. Farce is one of my favorite styles to do next to, straight dramatic realism. I love a good knee slapper. So that show has a special place in my heart because it was one of the first big leads I ever got in high school. We were doing that show. I'm pretty sure it was for my senior year. And, I had gotten some supporting leads and the year prior, we were doing Les Mis and I was Cosette and I was like, wow, I really like this. just like performing and just being on a stage and collaborating with fellow artists. And so that following year, I heard that we were doing Moon Over Buffalo, and I was so excited. And I was like, oh, I need to play Charlotte, because even though, obviously it's high school, I would never play Charlotte. I'm not going to play Charlotte until I'm, in my 40s, 50s, whatever. I was like, okay, out of the people that are in this high school, in this, theater department, I think I could play her. And so I got the opportunity to play Charlotte, and it was one of the best experiences of my high school theater career, I guess. And I fell in love with acting through that show. And then this past December, we did it again at my university, my senior year again, and I got to play Charlotte Hay one more time, and it was so special. I got to work with Harry Murphy, who is one of the most talented actors I've ever gotten to work with. He is so just impressive is the best way I can describe talking to him. And he was the director for that production, and I got to have a slightly older perspective on Charlotte. I say that as a 22-year-old playing, supposed to be, 50-some-year-old woman. But
boo-hoo playing old characters when you're young.
Yeah, you're talking to the wrong people.
You're talking to the wrong fucking people. Boo-hoo.
But so it was interesting for me because I was like, okay, I'm not going to try and fool people into thinking I'm supposed to be, in my 50s. So, we kind of scaled it back. We were going to say in my 40s, and I did some more mature makeup, and stop. Don't give me that face.
You're pissing me off.
I tried.
You're pissing me off.
My bad. Michael, I'm dealing with the exact opposite problem, but I will play high schoolers, maybe college, for the next 10 years. There's not a lot of options here.
Imagine looking youthful. Imagine. That's crazy.
What's that like? I've been playing mothers to people older than me for like 5 years now. I'm still in my 20s. Send help.
I was just newly 24 when I played Cinderella's father and Grimsby in back-to-back shows.
The fact that I would play Cinderella and you would play mine.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here. What do you mean?
Oh my God. Oh, Jesus. But I feel you, because I've had a lot of trauma in my life, which has made me a very mature person.
I'm sorry for laughing at that. I'm so
the trauma.
Just the way that came out of the blue. Like, it was just like, I played Grimsby and Cinderella's father. Trauma. I was like, Jesus Christ.
Well, Michael, you've heard this comment. My roommate Brian has said, Hannah, you play mature very well. I said, thank you. It's all the trauma. And because
all the trauma with Halnnah Hayley.
It's all the trauma done. That's the title of the episode.
It's the title of the episode.
That's my memoir. It's all the trauma. But I've played mature characters, either mothers or just like older women, at least in educational senses. I've had my fair share of, the ingenue, the love interest, but I usually end up getting typecast as like an older character, and I believe it's from the trauma, whatnot. But so, and that was kind of the case here. I was able to play her very, very well, and I was very happy to get the opportunity to do that show again. I cannot wait until I actually get to do that show as, a 40, 50-year-old Halnnah Hayley who can understand, those struggles of being a 40, 50-year-old woman. Because, Kat, you understand our career as women, like, there's not a whole lot of options as you start.
I thought you were going a different way. I'm so sorry for cutting in, but I thought when you were like, when playing 40-year-old women, Kat, you'd understand. I thought that's where it was going. And I was like, God damn.
Oh.
Like, holy shit.
Here I am going into the quarrels of women in theater and how our career, just as we get older.
And a man has to fuck it up.
God damn it, Michael.
No, it's true. Literally, like, I'm 29, which I don't think is necessarily old. I like to joke that I'm elderly, but like, 29, and the last two husbands I've had on stage have been over 60.
I need to have a talk with them because you're only marrying one person. Okay. Like,
Michael Matadominate, baby.
you're damn right.
uh, don't worry. When I come back down to Florida, I'll make the time worth it. I'll make it worth the wait.
God damn, was that
Well,
wow.
On my bucket list to become an ordained minister, because I think that would be really slay, me showing up in a pink pantsuit, all Elle Woods meets, priest, and I could
Elle Woods meets priest. Okay. Honestly, I think you would be the only one to be able to pull that off. Maybe you and Katie Marlowe. Shout out Katie Marlowe. Katie Marlowe can pull that off.
Oh,
but
yeah. She's gorgeous. Oh my God, she's so pretty. I love
Marlowe. Shout out Katie Marlowe. That's what she does all the time.
She's such a nerd. I love her.
Oh my God.
But now, Hannah, you're in Death of a Salesman at Palm Beach Drama Works.
An iconic show. How's that going?
It's so great. I've been loving the whole process, just getting to work at PBD and getting to meet all of the other actors who are in the show. And it really feels like a masterclass sometimes, like that first, 2 weeks of rehearsal where we were all at the rehearsal hall and just getting to witness everyone's process was so beautiful. I was just taking mental notes the entire time. And then it's interesting with this show because we don't have a crossover for the stage. So there's the men's dressing room, the stage, and then the women's dressing room. And so the men and women are completely separated like the entire time. And so I've gotten to have a really close bond with the girls that are working in the show and just getting to talk to them about their experiences and being a new, I don't want to, say a newbie or a baby because like I've been acting and I've been, taking classes and training for, the past 10 years. So I've been doing it a moment, but to be new into the industry and to be talking to everyone and getting their advice and their opinions is just so nice because, I wasn't sure how I was going to be perceived at all, being the newbie, the I don't know, the baby. I wasn't sure how it was going to be perceived, especially in such a cult classic of American. But, they were all so kind and welcoming and really just allowed me to play and to have, fun with it and to really, I don't know, feel welcomed into the industry because it's my first regional job. And so I've been loving the entire experience.
Listen, for your first regional job to be Palm Beach Drama Works, that's a fucking serve. I like that.
She ate with that one. She said, "Look at this contract." She ate with that one.
I was not expecting it to happen at all. We were doing 42nd Street at my university, and I was playing Dorothy Brock. Once again, a woman well beyond my years, but I will play her again when the time is right. And I snuck away to the audition for PBD, and I didn't tell anyone because in BFAs, it can be very much a hot topic to go and do professional auditions. And some programs, they don't let you. And in my program, there had been, an issue in the past where a student had gotten a professional offer, but had to turn it down for a school production, which is really unfortunate. And I didn't want that to be the case. But I also knew that if I started doing professional auditions my senior year, that I would be really nervous and really scared because, after you graduate, that's it. You got to go in. And I was like, I need to prepare myself a little bit. So I was like, what if I start the audition season a year early and I tell myself, I'm just going to meet people. I'm just going in there to have fun, to, dip my toes into the water before, fully jumping into the pool. And I was so happy that I did that because I got to feel comfortable and I got to feel safe. And it made me fall in love with auditions. I love auditions now because of that process. And so I went to the audition and I was like, I'm probably not going to get cast. I'm probably not even going to get seen because they were having equity auditions. And I was like, you know what? It is what it is. But I wanted to go for the experience. And I did my audition, and me being, self-deprecating, I was like, you know what? Nah, I didn't book it. It's fine. It is totally fine. And I left. I got myself a little post-audition treat, as we all should. And I went on with my day. And then that was in April of last year, I think. And then I get a call back, and I was like, okay, cool. So I read for Death of a Salesman and the cancellation of Lauren Fine, and I was thrilled. I was like, even if I didn't book the audition, I booked the room, and that's so good. And me, just jumping into the field, having no agent, no representation, not having anyone really to talk to about what it is that I was doing. I was like, okay, this is new and scary and exciting, but I'm just going to keep doing it. And so then I went to the callback, and great callback. I got to read with Bruce Linzer. I love him. And then that was it. And I didn't hear anything. And I was like, okay, that's fine. It's another one bites the dust. And so I just went on. And then in November, I was actually in Five Below looking at like the paint section, because I was going to have a little sip and paint night with my girls, and we were going to, do some canvas work. And I was shopping, and I get a call, and they asked me if I wanted to join, if I wanted to do a callback. And I was like, a second callback. And I was like, oh, okay, that's really cool. But this time Jay Barry Lewis was going to be in the room. And I was like, oh, wow, that's exciting. That's really nerve-wracking. Can I do this? Sure, maybe. And so I went. And while I was there, Bill Hayes asked me to do the monologue that I had done for my initial audition months prior. And I was like, oh, okay, so you really want to see my work. That's really nice of you. And I was really flattered the whole time, because I was like, even if I don't book this audition, I'm having a great experience. And so I did the callback, the second callback, and I was like, okay, we'll just wait and see. And then I get a call, and they asked me if I wanted to join the cast of Death of a Salesman. And I was like, oh my God, yes, absolutely. No question in my mind. And I after I said yes, I had to call a director who I was going to work with in the university. She's a local actor here, Suzanne Ingram Harris. She love her work. She's amazing, and she's currently directing Tiny Beautiful Things. And that's, the final season, the final show in Lynn Drama's season for the year. And I was going to star as Sugar, who's the lead of the show. And I was so excited. And I had already done the audition, and I had been cast. And I was like, Suzanne, I'm sorry, girl. Like, please let me out. and I really tried at first to see if there was a way where I could make it work with both. But there was 3 days that overlapped in the contracts. And so I was like, I can't do it. And
you also don't want to kill yourself, because
that's very true. Yeah. And one contract would have been in Boca, and the other one would have been in West Palm Beach. And I was like, I cannot make that drive like back and forth for those shows. And so when I told her that, she's like, well, Hannah, it's no question in my mind, you absolutely have to take the Palm Beach Drama Works gig. And so she's great. She's my acting coach. She's a phenomenal performer, and honestly, just one of the people that like I trust the most with my career. And so I had to then go and talk to the head of my department, Adam Simpson. And I was very nervous, because I was like, he could very well tell me I can't take this contract, and then I'm going to have to call them, and it's going to look really bad on me. And he was very supportive from the moment he found out. He said, this is exactly, what we need. This is exactly what we're training you to do, go out into the real industry and work, and, put your training to use. And so I was so happy to do that. And this whole process has really just been a whirlwind for me. It's been different than anything I've ever gotten to experience thus far in my training. And I'm just eternally grateful.
Andy Dombrowski.
I mean, yeah, what a story. But yeah, there's nothing like learning like on the job in this kind of situation. Like, because your training always sets you up for success, but like it's never exactly what they teach in school.
Mhm.
Yeah. And
Going
that training will
into
always stay with you too. Because when I quit for 5 years and I didn't do theater and I got thrown back into Greece, even though I was like fucking terrified and green as hell, I still understood what was correct, what needed to be done, and how to work in a professional environment because of the training that I had prior. So yeah,
yeah,
it's always was beneficial for sure.
Like, I don't think you need a BFA or a degree in general, but you do benefit from having a form of training. And
Yeah.
mhm,
it really just helps set you up for success because it's not going to guarantee anything, but it allows you to have a strong foundation to build that house on.
Hmm.
yeah.
Well,
So how long is this show running for?
Um, we are running until April 20th. So we've been running for almost a month.
Okay, so by the time this comes out, there'll still be a week left, so people can come see your fantastic performance. I wish I was going to be back in Florida to see it.
Oh,
It's a
that is
fantastic show.
it is a beautiful show, and our Willie Loman and our Biff and our Happy, and like the entire Loman family, the cast, like everyone in the show is amazing. But they astonish me every single night. There's this scream that happens at the very end of the show from Helena, and it is gut wrenching. Like I I am so impressed every single time I walk into that theater, and I feel impostery all the time.
Yeah, so no, you deserve to be called back. You deserve to be in that room. You deserve to be in that building. And I felt the same way. You know, when I started out, I was like, fuck, like I was a replacement for a while. You know, like people would drop and then I would be the name that would be brought in. But you know, over this last year, I started booking things like myself and not being, you know, a replacement for something. So you trust the talent that you have, you know, build upon it. And just, you know, at the end of the day, people forget that we play pretend for a living. You know,
It
we're
is
meant,
real. It is not life or death what we do.
yeah,
We really just play dress up on a grander scale. That is
we do.
all that we're doing.
Yep, yep.
Yeah,
So,
but we get paid for
but
it.
we get paid for it, you know? So it all works out in the end.
Yeah,
We are
no.
coming to a close. We're wrapping up on time here. So Hannah, I would like you to shout out your social medias and where people can follow you and find you and all that kind of jazz.
Okay,
Also, if you have any other projects coming up that you're allowed to talk about,
yeah.
let us
Um,
know.
sounds good. Well, I guess I'll start with my next upcoming project. I will be in Boca Stage's production of The Last Night of Ballyhoo. Um, so I'm very
That's
excited. I'm very, very excited. I'm playing Lala, and I cannot wait. It's my first production with Boca Stage. I went to their auditions last year. I didn't book it, but I booked this year. So I'm
She's
very,
back.
very happy. And that'll be October and November. It'll be in the Delray Beach Playhouse, which is in Delray Beach, Florida. And yeah, so we'll be running from October 24th through November 3rd. So it's a short, quick, sweet little run. But if you can come see, that's great. And my social medias are Hannah_Hayley, HANNAH_HAYLEY. So yeah, and I usually just use Instagram and all the jazz. So that you can find me pretty much using that handle anywhere.
Yeah, and if you get confused, just look on my tag photos for Greece. It's all fucked up. Okay, but yeah, no, thank you for joining Non-Ec Nonsense. This has been a pleasure. Thank you, Hannah, for coming on.
yes, thank you.
Yes, so this is Michael Matadomini signing out.
This is Kat Gold signing off, and
Halnnah Hayley.
Halnnah Hayley. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining the nonsense. We're with you. Season 1 is almost done. We only got a couple episodes left. Look
also
out for
this
the
is the
award
last
show.
episode where we have a 3-hour time difference when we record.
Let's give a round of applause for Kat and I pulling this out. Yes, we
I
did.
will be back on the East Coast. We will not have to do this nonsense.
Absolutely. And listen, Michael or Sue, if you want to get in one more time, you have a couple more chances before this season ends, sir.
Michael, do it. Do it.
Do it. Yes. Thank you very much.
We just peer pressure him every episode. That's
It's not
about it.
Michael, it's just your turn.
Yep. Drop the mic. All right. Anyways, Yeah, so Nonic Nonsense on your Mondays. Stay tuned to the Instagram because when the award show comes around, we're gonna post like polls for awards and all that kind of jazz. So make sure to vote on the awards. But yeah, no, this is Nonic Nonsense. Stay happy, stay healthy, no COVID.